All right, everyone, this is Cosmic Cassie, and this is the air sign reading Aquarius, Libra, Gemini. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Again, if this does not resonate for you, then catch next week's. I will post the signs every Tuesday. The first Tuesday of the month is the earth. The second Tuesday of the month is the air. Next Tuesday is going to be, I believe, fire. And then the last fourth Tuesday is the water signs. So let's go ahead and jump into it. We'll start with Aquarius first. And we're just going to do a really quick 10-minute update. Check out the timestamps down below to find your sign if you need to. And let's jump into it. What do we need to know for Aquarius? And this reading is going to be good for a month long. So from this Tuesday to next Tuesday. Okay. First thing we have, down in the river. And these tarot cards, or I guess oracle cards, are visions in the liminal space is what they're called. So we have down in the river. We have sparkle, sparkle, bitch. Know thyself. I see that you are here and I am glad. And last one is maybe not the last one. Parrotism. The very last one is tra-la-la. Okay? Again, this is visions in the liminal space, and I'm going to use these on all of them. So, because I do read with, and sorry if you hear any construction in the background, but I do read energy. So for me, I'm going to space these out in twos because I feel like that's what we need to do. Aquarius, down in the river in Sparkle, Sparkle, Bitch. This feels like someone who is really into themselves right now, really into their kind of own vibe, not really caring about anyone else, choosing to just focus on yourself, but in a way where we're not really taking away from the self if someone else comes into the picture or tries to disrupt our energy or come near us. We're kind of just minding our own business. We're doing whatever we want off in our own world is the energy I get with this. I feel like a part of the energy with this, though, it's almost like someone who is fantasizing or kind of like in this dream state. It feels like someone who's thinking about like who they want to be in the future. That's the image I keep getting, is someone who's in their own world. It's a really nice, like pleasant world, but a part of this world is a lot of daydream, fantasy, thinking about where I could be, who I could be, what could I make? It's all fantasy and dream state is the energy that I get with these two. And then with know thyself, and I see that you are here and I am glad. This is a part of, and I think this is probably what spurred more of this kind of dream state here, or at least daydreaming, is part of the reason you're able to daydream like this is because you know who you are. This is someone who's discovered their own self-worth, their own sense of true value, and they feel very good about that. And it's something that they haven't seen in a long time. And so Aquarius, you're finally starting to see who you are, and you're starting to understand in a much depth kind of way the things that you feel are good and bad about yourself. There's no limitation here. This is very much who am I and how do I feel about who I am and why do I appreciate that? That's kind of the energy I get with this. Now, when I'm looking at specifically the Know Thyself card, this indicates someone who's been through a lot of trials and turmoil because their hands are calloused. They have rough hands. They've been used many times. They have random tattoos on them, random markings. So this is someone who's been through the ringer quite a few times and are finally just starting to understand their own strength, their own power, the own beauty that they really hold. And I feel like this is someone who has struggled with their own self-confidence in multiple kinds of ways, and they're finally starting to really appreciate who they are and see the amazing things that they hold and are unique about themselves. With parrotism and tra-la-la, this feels very much, I'm not gonna lie, this feels more like a toxic energy because it feels like – even though you're on this beautiful journey, it's like this is maybe where a lot of you have a hard time letting go of toxic behavior or toxic people, because the energy it feels like is I'm daydreaming about all these beautiful, wonderful things that could come into my life that I could become. And it's all because I really know how amazing and awesome I am. But because I know that, I don't really care if I take from people. I don't really care if I mooch off of them. I don't really care if I become a leech in any kind of way. I don't really care if, I feel like it's almost a sense of entitlement, honestly, Aquarius, where it feels like, yeah, I took that from that person. So what? Who cares? It feels very unconcerning with how you may be draining people or using people. It's kind of what I would call like a usatory energy. And it's stemming from a place of goodness, but it's like we're seeing these good things and then doing something negative with them, because we're realizing all these beautiful things that I could have, this beautiful life that I want, that, maybe someday I will create, but it doesn't feel like you take that energy and use it to create that life. It feels like you take that energy, you see how valuable you are, and then you're like, well, let me just get it from this person. Let me allow this person to create that from me. And another part of this is this energy here, the know thyself, and I see that you are here and I'm glad. A part of this could even be where someone has entered your life and you're really happy that person has entered your life, but you're seeing them more as like a piggy bank, as a cash out, as someone who's going to create something for you, someone who's going to do something, take you to success in some way. But it's like it's ending with this energy where it's kind of like, I don't care about anything because I'm getting what I want. As long as I get what I want, then tra la la la, like who cares? I don't really care. And so we're not being very mindful of possibly how we're connecting to people, what kind of relationship we're forming with those people that we're connecting with, okay? Let me just pull some quick advice for you, Aquarius. Show me advice for Aquarius. Oops, that came out kind of fast there. Season of the Witch. Bring your own seat to the table, and the Hell Train. Aquarius, as advice, what I get from this is if we're not able to change this behavior, if we keep falling into this pattern that creates this kind of toxic cycle of seeing our worth, feeling our worth, getting excited about these beautiful things our life could become, but then kind of allowing someone else to do all the work and taking from other people in order to get what you want. If we're not able to change that energy, the season of the witch, this, not saying that all witches are bad, but in this connotation here, the way that I'm getting from this, it's almost like, because you can see a fire on the inside and then you see the people kind of floating around the fire. This feels like the witch getting caught. So if you're doing this by being able to manipulate the situation, being able to, in a very sneaky, cunning way, get what you want, being very discreet and disconcerting about it, if you're able to do that and that's how you're approaching this and how you're able to kind of use people, it's like you're going to get caught out. You're not caught out. You're going to be caught and called out. And at that time, it's going to be kind of like everything's going to get taken from you. No one's going to help you. No one's going to support you. You're going to be forced to kind of stand up for yourself on your own 2 feet and start to contribute in a very equal kind of way. And the Hell Train is letting you know, hey, if you can't figure this out, you're going to go through a lot of hell. You're going to go through a lot of downfall, a lot of turmoil, because you're not bringing your own seat to the table, because you're not showing up. This is kind of advising you, change your approach here, because there's a real need to do so, not for yourself, but also for people around you, because it feels very much like, Aquarius, you're going to get caught up. And again, this can always be vice versa. It doesn't have to be your energy. This could be someone you're dealing with, and some of you might feel that way. But I get more of this as an Aquarius energy approaching things and doing this thing. I try not to judge anyone because I don't know the situation, but I just try to be as transparent as possible. In Aquarius, it feels like with this energy, if you keep kind of dabbling around and taking what you want and doing what you want and not really having a care in the world of how it's affecting people, not putting that work in for yourself, it feels like you get called out on this and it gets seen very clearly. And then like things kind of go to hell for you because you're not able to lean on anyone. You're not able to rely on someone to provide for you anymore. That energy immediately gets taken away for you. So that's the best thing I can kind of say. I don't want to beat a dead horse, Aquarius, but it just feels like if you don't shape up your act here and stop kind of mooching off of people and taking from people and then not really caring about when you do this, because it doesn't feel like there's a consciousness behind it where I feel bad about it. It doesn't feel that way at all. Things are going to start to go kind of downhill because everyone's going to see what you're doing and you're not going to be invited to the table if you can't bring your own seat anymore. So this is a reading for Aquarius. Next, I'm going to jump into Gemini. And Aquarius, if you're ever looking for a personal reading, please feel free to check out my website, cosmiccassie.com, where I do personal readings there. Best of luck to you, and I'll see you next month on the second Tuesday. So let's look at Gemini. What do we need to know for Gemini? To know for Gemini. All right, Gemini. Let's get you some cards pulled here. What do we need to know for Gemini? What does Gemini need to know for the next month? Tuesday to Tuesday. What does Gemini need to know for the next month? Show me Gemini. All right, Gemini. We have a little bit less cards, and sometimes that's a good thing. So same thing, I always say, Gemini, I do read the energy of the cards, so I'll start with this one and kind of go down, and then we'll pull some advice at the end. Hiding in plain sight. Gemini, this feels like, it does feel like there's a sense of being lost or confused about something and really not necessarily chasing the answer and struggling to find the answer. It doesn't really feel like you're putting much effort into trying to figure something out, but it does feel like there's this energy with you of not having all the answers, not totally understanding something, feeling like, okay, I don't have the full picture. I don't know every detail that I should know, but you're also not searching for it. So that's kind of interesting. It's almost like it gives me Hanged Man energy from the traditional tarot deck, where it's almost like I'm sitting and I'm waiting for this information to come to me because I recognize that I don't have all the information, but I'm not going to go chase it. I just understand. The example that they kind of just popped into my head here was, it's almost like if you have a friend or someone like this, and they're talking to you and they're telling you this story, but you know at the end of the story that they're like omitting things and that like they're not telling the full truth. But instead of taking the route of questioning them and saying like, I don't believe you and I know you're lying, you're like, you know what, I'm gonna let it play out because I already know that I'm not getting all the details. And let's say they're like, oh, so can you invest in this thing, or can you give me this money? Can you help me in this way because of everything that I just told you? And you're kind of like, well, you know what? I'm going to wait and see. I don't know if I can help you. So it's like you're not taking action, but there's a sense of I'm not taking action because I know that I'm not getting the full truth. And instead of calling them out, instead of questioning them, I'm going to let it play out because I already know if I don't take action, the truth is going to reveal itself. That's kind of how this feels. Next up, we have Butterfly Dreams. this energy feels very much like someone who is mature, someone who has gained wisdom. So I think because of the way that you're approaching this situation, hiding in plain sight, because you're approaching it in a way of patience, in a way of allowing things to play out, allowing the truth to reveal itself, allowing things to come out into fruition, because you're being patient and just allowing things to happen rather than forcing them and chasing them and trying to do things and making it all drama, you're starting to become more wise. You're starting to become more mature. You're learning from your experiences. You're truly learning the lessons that you've gone through in life, and you've taken something from them and now you're implementing them. It's an integration moment for you, and you should feel very good about this. You should feel very accomplished that you've been able to take those lessons and really use them in a very positive and beautiful way. Next is the passing of time. This is almost an energy of self-reflection, is immediately what I get from this. But a part of that self-reflection is questioning, am I where I want to be in life? And I think because you're introducing your wisdom and your experience, you're starting to question, what more can I do? What more could I change in my life? Other things that are not aligned with me. It feels very introspection, very self-observed. I don't think that you're communicating this with anyone. I don't think this is something you're sharing. These thoughts are not something you're giving to people. They feel very internal thoughts, questioning my life and where I'm at, not with a judgment, not with a cynicism, but more with, is this everything I want to do? Is this where I want to stop, pushing and moving? And if it's not, where might I go? It doesn't even feel like we're at the daydream stage. It just feels like we're questioning, is this all I want to have? Am I satisfied? Am I content and happy with the way that my life is right here and right now? And then the last one is let it break. This is quite literally an energy of, I don't think that a lot of you are at this part yet. Okay, I want to emphasize that. I don't think that this stage has happened for a lot of you. I think most of you are in either this first one or second one. I don't even think that most of you are in this third stage here. But I feel like this fourth stage, the reason I say that is because it feels like a sudden realization, a very sudden epiphany of something I want to do, somewhere I want to go, someone I want to become. It's like a very sudden, quick, instant realization of something that you want to change in your life and that you want to create in your life. And then there's no stopping you, is what that feels like. There's no stopping you. Once that sudden, excuse me, realization and epiphany moment come in for you, there's no holding you back anymore. And I feel like you've been in a place, even from past readings, of being very slow to change and move things, not really wanting to face what's been in front of you and what's been happening around you. But it feels like this is suddenly changing, where you have more of this appreciation and gratitude and grace about how you change your life and in what way you do it, rather than being impulsive and being quick and creating drama. It's like you're learning to be more patient and slow, but not slow at like turtle pace, slow like divine timing. And so this let it break is almost when all of that slowness and patience comes to an end, and now you're suddenly spurred into a feeling of action, of movement, of this is what I want to do, this is where I want to go, I want to create that, I want to build that, I want to move here and see this and do that. And then you do it. There's no more waiting. There's no more patience. Okay. I do keep hearing March over and over for you, Gemini. So I think that for a lot of you, even though you have that epiphany moment of what you might want before next month on the second Tuesday, I feel like for a lot of you in March is when you're going to see a lot of results happen, because you're pursuing whatever it is that you're wanting to pursue, build, create, whatever it is. And again, nothing or no one is going to be holding you back. I feel like things are so much more in alignment for you to move forward in whatever direction that you want to move into. And because you've shown that you've been able to be patient and use your wisdom as a benefit and integrate it, the universe is supporting you when it's time to move forward because you've learned the lesson. You've learned the lesson of letting things happen and not making yourself involved in the happening, but just allowing it to happen. Gemini, very beautiful reading. If you ever want a personal reading, check out my website, Cosmic Cassie, and you can definitely get one on there. Otherwise, I will see you guys next Tuesday when I do your next reading. Last, we are going to go into Libra. Oops, some of the incense fell on the table there, guys. Sorry about that. Just blow it out the way. Libra, let's go ahead and go into your reading and see what do you need to know for the next 30 days, Libra. What does Libra need to know for the next 30 days? I just dropped a lot of them. These cards, I love them, but they're so slick. Okay. All right. What does Libra need to know for the next 30 days? What does Libra need to know for the next 30 days? This one came out. I feel like we might need more, so I just want to make sure. Is there one more for Libra? Is there one more for Libra? Thank you. I knew it. It felt like there was one more. Okay. All right, Libra, same as the other signs, I do read more energetically, so I'm going to kind of go over the energy that I'm sensing with each of these and go from there, and then we'll pull some advice if needed. And oh, you know what? I forgot to pull advice with Gemini, but honestly, I don't think they needed any advice. So Geminis, if you're still watching, apologies. We have Love Garden, Cosmic Effery, Carry Your Weather, Eureka, and You May Never Know. So let's start off with Love Garden. Libra, with the Love Garden energy here, this feels very much like an internal cultivation of things that it's almost like creating a beautiful space and a beautiful environment, but it's all within yourself. It's like cultivating all the beautiful things that you hold within yourself and really allowing those things to grow within you. So we're not dimmed down, we're not lacking or forgetting the beautiful things, the flowers, the beetles, the bugs, the worms, like even the things that we may not have thought were beautiful, but we're realizing the garden is the garden because all the things work together to make it beautiful. And I feel like that's like that self-cultivation that we're starting to create internally. If you're a really spicy Libra, it's like you're learning to love that spiciness about you. And it's because you're spicy that makes you so friendly and interesting and outgoing and social. And so it's like you're realizing that there's really nothing wrong with you, Libra. It's all about how you learn to cultivate every part of yourself. And the way that you do that, it's going to deem if you create a garden that has a huge bounty, a garden that has beautiful flowers. It's all about how you self-cultivate within. Cosmic Effery. This energy feels very much like I feel like this is the universe in a way kind of messing with you, but it's almost a way to validate how you feel and what you're doing with cultivating internally. So the more that you appreciate and love all the pieces and bits of yourself, and you learn to cultivate that and integrate it as a whole piece of yourself, you start to see, this feels very much like you get synchronicities or things happen and you start to laugh about it instead of it becoming this terrible, gut-wrenching, unnerving situation or conversation. Instead, you're finding so much more humor in the things that you might have shied away from in the past, the conversations that made you uncomfortable, doing things that really didn't feel good to you, all of a sudden become humorous when you feel anxious and embarrassed and uncomfortable. You're no longer letting those lower energy feelings come in and pretty much re-guide you or misdirect you from your mission, your purpose, or wherever you're trying to go. It feels like we've really replaced a lot of those lower energies with more humor, with laughing about it. It's so much easier to just laugh about it. Someone, not maybe as drastic as this, but it's like, you get a fender bender, and before you got the fender bender, it's like you showed up to an interview and the interview went absolutely terrible and you were like, there's no way I want that job. And so you leave and you get into this fender bender and you almost like are sitting there thinking about how humorous it is that if I would have just canceled the interview in the first place and never gone, I never would have had a bad interview, and then I never would have gotten to a fender bender. But instead of getting stressed and upset about it, you just laugh about how everything comes together. You're seeing the world in a very different way, and it's because you're learning to cultivate all the bits and pieces inside. So that means you're starting to appreciate the positive and negative things externally from you that happen. And you start to see the universe's sense of humor and how the universe plays with us, even if we can't always appreciate how playful it does. But we're starting to learn. We're starting to laugh at it. Carry your weather. This is you. Again, this is a part of that same energy. I might have went a little too far, but this is a part of that same energy. With carry your weather, it's like no matter what happens, I can still access and realign and get into connection with those positive emotions, with that sense of humor, with taking things with a light heart and just enjoying things, being happy. It doesn't matter what happens. You carry those positive emotions with you everywhere that you go, and you're learning how to easily grab them and use them in every situation, not just the situations where you should be happy and you should be laughing. It's like, no, I can laugh and be happy no matter what's happening within or without me, around me. With the Eureka, this is having the epiphany moment of like, excuse me, the epiphany moment of having it feels like a grander access to the universal laws. This is really an integration, Libra, of understanding how the universe works. But even though you understand it, it doesn't mean that it becomes predictable. The Eureka moment is realizing the universe plays games on us. The universe is playful. It has fun. The universe, cosmos, God, whoever you want to call it, they have a very funny way of how they use energy and affect each of us. And it's almost like that friend who always plays little jokes on you. And as annoying as the jokes are, they're really good and they're really funny. And it's like it literally feels like the more you become the friend of the universe rather than the enemy of the universe, you start to lighten up and appreciate those funny little jokes. It gives me like an image of a grouchy person suddenly becoming a really like humorous jokester. And it's because of all the cultivation that you're doing internally that even allows you to take that kind of integration and path. And then the last one is you may never know. And this is what I mean by, even though the Eureka moment comes in, I'm understanding the universe. I'm starting to get how it moves and how energy moves, how it plays with me, and how it's never out to hurt me, but it definitely doesn't control every outcome. It just allows the energy to be what it is, and however the outcome comes about. Even though you understand that, it's not predictable. So don't get this information, Libra, and then think, oh, now I can play chess. Now I can, predict what's going to happen. Now you can definitely use the energy to your benefit and learn when to do things, when not to do things, how to, assist the energy in moving in the directions and the ways that you find beneficial for yourself, but you can't ever predict it. It's not something that becomes like an exact law that you can use in a very exact kind of singular way, because energy is energy. It's like water. You never quite know how the water's going to splash. All you know is that it is going to splash. And so you can prepare for that splash, but you don't know where and how it's going to splash, if that makes any sense for you guys. So that you may never know is saying, work with that energy and have fun with it, but don't start to be really rigid about it and really strict with it, because that's not what it's for. It's meant to be playful. It's meant to be lighthearted and fun. Let me just pull really quick advice. Advice for Libra. Any advice for Libra? And Libra, if you ever want a personal reading, check out my website, cosmiccassie.com, and you can set that up for yourself. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next Tuesday. And on the second Tuesday is when I do the air sign readings, so definitely check in. Next Tuesday is going to be fire and then water. If you didn't catch the earth sign and you need to, that was last Tuesday. High road, reason to live, juice, sparkle, sparkle bee. This is literally letting you know, enjoy life, Libra. Take the high road. Don't let anything weigh you down. Stop falling into any negative things. A number that some of you might be seeing a lot is 555. And 555 is all about changes. It's about sudden changes and slow changes, but it's about the changes that are always happening. That is the only predictable thing in the world, is that things will always change. And so it feels like with the advice, Libra, it's letting you know, as things change, understand the change is a part of the reason why we are here, is to experience those changes, to live through them, to learn to work with them. Whether those changes feel good or bad in the moment, it doesn't matter, because in the long run, they're all meant to be something that we can benefit from, but you have to learn to move and sway with the changes. And so it's saying, enjoy them as they come through. No matter what's happening, no matter what's going on, stay in line and connected to those positive emotions, to the things that are going to make you feel fulfilled, happy, uplifted. Libra, this is everything I had for you. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys next month on the second Tuesday. Bye.